Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not been keeping up, Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is still making trending news. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, Dave Chappelle and had a lot of controversy with his new comedy special, especially with the LGBTQ community, with his, I wouldn't say offensive remarks, but remarks that the LGBTQ community did not like. And Dave Chappelle said some few things. He compared like, why do we need to worry about a gay person's feelings, and he used different rhetoric that the LGBTQ community did not like, and there were mass protests in Netflix. The non-binary or the LGBTQ the LGBTQ members who work for Netflix came out in protest and said, "Hey, please take that down." Paraphrasing right now. It's not exactly what they said. I'm just paraphrasing. Please take the show down. We want you to take Dave Chappelle's comedy special down, because at the end of the day, we do not agree. We do not like what is being said. We do not like what is being shown on television. And there was mass protests outside Netflix. Even Netflix fired a person. Netflix actually fired an individual, or not individual, fired a member of who was an LGBTQ member, and well, then Netflix reinstated that person back. Netflix have said we're not taking it down, so now there have been mass protests. And ladies and gentlemen, this is very interesting, because if you watch that special, you wouldn't have said he said things in a way like, let's say, the baby. Remember that long ass controversy with the baby and Rolling Loud and his comments about the LGBTQ community or homosexuals, and how he and then Dave Chappelle actually brought that up in his special, when he talked about how the baby hurt a gay person's hurt a gay person's feelings, and then he talked about how we dying, and talked about how the black community is dying compared to the LGBTQ community, and people were just like, wait a minute, and then so it's been a whole, and asking people are asking Dave Chappelle to be canceled, and Dave Chappelle said, "Wow, is this what's like to be canceled?" He loves it, and recently he stated, I think 2 days ago, that listen, he will not bow down for anybody. I stand by what I said. Paraphrasing. It's not actually what he said. But he stated that he will not bow down for anybody. I will not bow down for anybody. Now, this is the problem I was having. I actually made an episode, but because of information leading up to a individual, one of the topics that I did, one of the topics actually had an individual, that was, I talked about an individual, but there's been an update which I had to then scrap, because then the update was actually very key. So I'm going to talk about that later. But Dave Chappelle stated that, if black people acted like gay people in booty shorts and stuff, slavery would have ended 100 years. Look, he's very controversial. Obviously, he's one of those old heads. He's one of those old head comedians. He's one of those most successful comedians in American history. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy was voted into the Hall of Fame of Comedy. The Hall of Fame of Comedy. Ladies and gentlemen, when you were growing up in the 80s and 90s, you looked up to Dave Chappelle. You really looked up to Dave Chappelle. His specials were quirky, and he always talked about different things. And now he's bringing life, and he's bringing life into his comedy specials. Remember with the George Floyd and an 8 minutes and 46 seconds special. That's what he named his special, one of his comedy specials. So Dave Chappelle is very raw, very real. He's going to tell you what it is. He's going to tell you what it is. Maybe it's not the best thing, but he's one of those old heads. And for me, the LGBTQ members should understand that. My issue is that the LGBT community is attacking Dave Chappelle, but Dave Chappelle did not spew any, false information or any information like the baby. If you know comedy, comedy is usually rough. Not rough. Raw and real. So how and why? I mean, of course, you got, of course, new age people. We need to be more careful what we say to other people. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you know Dave Chappelle, you understand he's not attacking the LGBTQ members. He basically he was trying to compare the baby situation versus how the black community versus the black community, how the black community is dying dying. As I was saying, Dave Chappelle, wore booty shorts. What did I say? No, if Dave Chappelle, you know, try to compare and try to understand the situation between the LGBTQ community, LGBTQ community, and then the black community, and wanted to them to understand, Dave Chappelle wants to be like, wait a minute, you guys are complaining about stuff that is irrelevant. People are dying in our community, and you are so hurt about, Now, Dave Chappelle, I wouldn't really say, um, spreading of misinformation is kind of hurtful. It is, ladies and gentlemen, it is. Stereotypes. I want to talk about that further. Stereotypes. The misinformation about, the homosexuals. I can't even say the word. Homosexuals. This misspreading of information. That can be hurtful. It can be. And what we deem hurtful is different from what the LGBTQ community is hurtful. You can say, a rhetoric that we might find funny, but it's not funny to them. That misinformation that the baby displayed in Rolling Loud, ladies and gentlemen, funny enough, he performed that Rolling Loud. Uh, just backlash. Once that went over, they want to bring him back. But Dave Chappelle, I mean, there is reasoning. Well, not really reasoning to behind the madness, should I say? No, not really reasoning behind the madness. But as what I'm trying to say is, Dave Chappelle maybe should have understood that the LGBTQ community are going to be offended by some of the rhetoric that's being spewed out there. And the misinformation about HIV and, you know, and many other things. This is what multiple people need to realize is that we are in a very PC world right now. Like you body shaming, this and that, calling people ugly, calling people this. It's not looked frowned upon, which is actually pretty good. Bullying has been a huge issue in schools and in workplaces, and it's time for us to know. It's time for us to now grow up and, if somebody's overweight, you don't really need to call the person overweight. When I was growing up in school, people used to get bullied. Never talked about. It was never talked about. But then, now I think it's good that we're now trying to eradicate bullying because there's so many incidents of kids, losing their lives due to bullying. Due to the fact that the words we say can hurt somebody. And they don't know how to handle that hurt. PC culture can be good, PC culture can be bad. If you are one of those comedians, you need to be able to think out the box. Aren't you creative? Improvise. You want to go into slander. You want to go into name calling. You want to do all that. Why? But for me, I think Dave Chappelle is an old head. Look, does he need some educational training? Maybe. Maybe he needs to understand maybe things that LGBTQ community maybe don't like. Maybe he needs to avoid saying them. But he's an old head. He's an old head. And he used the LGBTQ member, he used the baby situation, he used that to try and comment on the black community and how the black community are seen. And he was just like, oh wow, if we had booty shorts and makeup back in the day, we would probably end up, slavery would have ended. And for me, I don't think he used any, rhetoric that, or any hate speech against the LGBTQ community, and he didn't use any of that. And I feel like maybe it's warranted. It's warranted because you don't want people to see that, and then people will be saying that to the LGBTQ community. You wouldn't. It's not gonna end well because people see monkey do. Monkey see Dave Chappelle making fun of them or saying something that's homophobic, and then he goes spreads it out, and then that person spreads it out, and that person spreads it out, and then we have a whole wide issue of hate speech based on the person's sexuality, which should not be common. It's not getting common. Back in the day, you people would just hide. Now people are coming out saying I'm, gay, I'm lesbian, I'm transgender, what. And I get it, and I get it. I am heterosexual, but when I was growing up, I had a friend who was gay in high school. He used to buy me lunch, actually, across the street from my school. In high school, we just go across the street, eat tacos and sandwiches and stuff. Don't know why, but I just came for the food. And I found out he was gay, and I kind of stayed away from him. I stayed away from him. I did. I mean, he transferred after that. I'm assuming he was probably bullied. And he didn't enjoy it there because people made fun of his sexuality. Of course, I mean, young kids. Back when I was growing up, 2009, 10? No, 2008. No, 2009. No, 2008. 2008. That time I was in grade what? Grade 8? Grade 9? No, grade 8. And he transferred somewhere else. I'm assuming because he stayed in a dorm. He was probably there were a lot of closeted gays. He was the only one who was openly gay. And people made fun of him. Sad, but that was it. I went to an all-boys school. How about that? So basically, it's for me. I stayed away after finding out, just because I was like, the stereotypical. Maybe if he touches me, I'll come gay. I did that, and now I know better. Maybe a law of attractiveness. I'm not an attractive individual. I'm ugly, but unhandsome. Let's say less handsome. Shouldn't say ugly. Less handsome. But, I had those stereotypes when I was growing up. As a kid. In high school. And a friend was gay. He never hit on me. Maybe I wasn't his type. But he used to always buy me food. And I was always there. I was a big eater back in my school days. Dave Chappelle. Maybe, but I mean, he was trying to make a situation out of something close to the black community. That the message was just about him comparing the LGBTQ community to the black community, saying that your problems are not bigger than the black communities. They're not. To be frank, they're not. The LGBTQ guys with rhetoric, we have to deal with rhetoric every single day. The N-word, this and that. the stereotypes, our lives being lost due to police brutality. LGBTQ members, you're not going through that. You're not going through that. You're not going through what the black community go through every single day of the week. A child could have a no father, could end up with no father. He could have no father from now. You don't even know when his dad could get stopped by the police and his life is gone. That's what he was bringing attention to. The black community is bigger, bigger trouble than the feelings of an LGBTQ member. I'm afraid to say it. It is true. It is very true. Even if you watch that message, if you watch that show, a comedy special by Dave Chappelle, you will see that he was trying to allude to the fact that your feelings versus the black person's feelings is different. And you are talking about rhetoric. We're talking about life and death. Dave Chappelle's right. Life and death. You don't know. We don't know what's going to happen to us. We don't. Due to the fact that the biases in these police departments are terrible and they need to be retrained. Some of them, some of these departments aren't like that, but majority. A traffic stop. How can a traffic stop lead to somebody's death? How? I mean, homophobic behavior in our community probably is terrible. We don't treat black transgenders or cross-dressers correctly. But people should realize, a transgender woman, y'all need to realize, transgender woman, transgenders, y'all really need to realize you're not a woman or you're not a man. You made yourself into that. You've made yourself into that. You've made yourself into that. I know you're feminine. I know you believe you're feminine. You want to feel like a woman. You are a woman. You just think like a woman. But you're a man. And if you got like some crazy surgery that made you into a woman, then wow. But by birth, you are a man or a woman. It just has a feeling of the opposite sex. It is very true. Once the LGBTQ members understand about the black community, and the black community, we have transgenders. We have got the LGBTQ community in the black community is growing by the numbers, which is great. I like to see the fact that, but the fact is we're not open yet versus probably the white community, versus the Caucasian community, maybe. Even Caucasians maybe don't have, but we have such a high homophobia, high homophobic tolerance to transgenders and gays and lesbians. Lesbians, oh, we love lesbians, but gays, no, and transgenders, no. The thing with me is, if you are a and look, it's because you think like a man and you think like a woman, or you think like a man, you think like a woman. You try and portray yourself in a way that you are the opposite sex, and it's very believable. And you make people fall in love with you. Then what happens when somebody falls in love with you and finds out you're a transgender? Something happens. But what do? You have the feelings of the opposite sex. The hormones kick in when you like somebody and you love somebody and you want him to love you. What do you do? What do you do? Even in South Africa, with like gays, especially in the upper area, not upper areas, upper thing, not upper thing. What you call it? In the higher tier class of South Africans, so many people are open, gays and lesbians, especially lesbians. That's what it is. It's just you're naturally born like that. I mean, you're tomboys when you're young, and then you just feel like a boy when you're growing up. It happens. It just happens. But I feel like Dave Chappelle maybe needs to. I did say Dave Chappelle, right? Dave Chappelle. I almost got lost. Dave Chappelle just maybe needs to understand, but he's old school. He doesn't care about what you think about him, what you care, what you feel about him, what you think about his jokes. He's gonna tell them raw and real. That's Dave Chappelle. He's one of the greatest in the comedy game. Comedy is kind of dead, but he tries to bring it back with these specials. Why? Because I'm not all in, but I don't feel like the LGBTQ members and LGBT, but the LGBT all in. The LGBTQ members make an LGBTQ members, right? The community members do have a valid point. I mean, rhetoric. If rhetoric is spread out, and a big name like Dave Chappelle is using his rhetoric, it's dangerous because people would say that back to them, thinking it's okay, and when it's not. When it's not okay. And that moves me into this. Remember Lil Boosie. Look at what Lil Boosie said to Lil Nas X, who's an openly gay artist. Go read his Twitter. I don't think maybe his Twitter took the news. Maybe his Twitter got taken down. I'm not too sure. But it told him to go kill himself because he's gay. Now that I would never stand behind. Now that telling somebody because they're open about their sexuality to go die. It's incredible. Same guy who had an issue with D Wade's children, or one of D Wade's children, Zaya. Zaya is openly a crossdresser. She's a female, but she's a man. Same Lil Boosie that was very sickened by the fact that a child who was 15 decided to say, I'm a woman. I don't feel like a man. And he didn't like the fact that it was a quote unquote a child. Maybe he has some valid points, but those are not your children. Those are not your children. If the child wants to be a woman, if she found herself to be a woman, I feel like that's more pressure due to the fact that people are openly coming out, and young kids are just so into television, and just especially Gen Z, television craze, especially social media. It's not even television craze, more like social media craze, should I say? You just say, I'm openly gay. I'm gay. I mean, maybe there are many kids that just is doing it as a trend. We don't know. But Lil Boosie, you need to watch yourself. Honestly, you really do need to watch yourself. Now, where are the LGBTQ communities attacking Lil Boosie? Where are they? He's so on Dave Chappelle and his comments about the LGBTQ community versus Lil Boosie. Excuse me. Versus Lil Boosie, who told a person who's an artist, who's an openly gay artist, that he should go kill himself because he's gay. And Lil Boosie told his family members that they should be sad that he came out that way. But then somebody defended him online. A friend defended him while on TMZ, stating that he doesn't hate gay people. He just, hates Lil Nas X. So why would you? But then I wanted to. But I wanted to ask, if I was that interview, but why would he say that Lil Nas X would go and kill himself because he's gay? If you don't hate gay people, he wouldn't say that if you don't hate gay people, regardless. If you don't like the person himself, you could have told him to go away or whatever. But you told him in the tweet that he should go and kill himself because he's a homosexual. Or should I just say gay? Because he's gay. That his life is what? Worthless or whatever. I don't know why you're paying attention to him if you don't like him. Now that is considered hate speech. Telling somebody to go kill himself because he's an openly gay individual. Where was the LGBT community? Where are you guys at? You didn't come and attack Boosie? Because Dave Chappelle did not say any of this in his special. So you don't hate gays, but you tell somebody to go kill himself because he's gay. Huh? Make it make sense, y'all. Don't hate gays, but go kill yourself because you're gay. If you don't like the person, why don't you say, Lil Nas, I hate you. Please don't troll me, don't talk to me, just go away. Why would you tell somebody to go kill himself because he's gay? If you don't hate gays. There's so many words you could have used. If you don't like the person, you could have said, Lil Nas, please don't mention me. Don't mention me. Go do you. Do you, I do me. We're not crossing no paths, we're not doing anything like that. Go away. But many people have a problem with young kids becoming gay, especially in the black community. Yo, black kid becoming gay, what's going on here? I'm going to talk more in detail about the black community and the way we think. That's going to be in a future episode. But Lil Boosie, I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what you're talking. Don't know what you're talking about. Actually, no. I don't know what you're talking about. What am I saying? I don't know what you're talking about. Wow. Lil Boosie, I don't know what's wrong with you. Lil Boosie, what is wrong with you? Because you're ghetto? You're from the hood? So? Your Instagram got taken down. Your Instagram got taken down to the fact that you would post, not nudity, but very vulgar content on your Instagram. Knowing that little kids watch you. What are you teaching your kids, man? What are you teaching your kids? Who knows? He's got kids. He's got 3 kids. 2 sons and 1 daughter. I don't know if he's got multiple. Maybe more. I'm not too sure. But wow. Lil Boosie. I'm in the hood. Then after that, he attacked his father. He told his father that. And I think Lil Nas's brother responded and told him that. If his father responded, then Lil Nas's brother responded, and I think his father was talking about, man, you crap. I'm paraphrasing. Man, you crap. Man, you don't know what you're talking about. My son is more successful than you, and who are you, and whatever. I think it was along those lines, but don't quote me because those are not the actual. Those are not the actual quotes from Lil Nas X's father. But he told Boosie, bro, what's wrong with you? He told Boosie, who are you? And then he probably called him out and told him why are you telling my son to go die? My son is successful. And then after the Boosie responded it must be sad knowing that your son is like this. This is the same man that does not hate gays. But he's sad. It must be sad. He replies to his father. He replies to Lil Nas X's father that, hey, it must be sad knowing your son it came out like this. Then the brother responded by saying, look, my brother's going to be a millionaire by 22. And he's a Grammy Award winning artist. And he's won multiple awards. Huh? Lil Boosie. Actually, no, I don't think that the Grammy. I think it was the person who commented on that situation. Don't quote me on that. I think that's not the quote. But ladies and gentlemen, let that sink in. Lil Boosie, who are you though? Who are you? Very funny online. but you're very vulgar with your content. It's very hard to watch sometimes. When you're not being vulgar, you're very funny to watch. But when you are vulgar, we don't want to. I don't watch. The disrespect towards women. The disrespect. I don't know, disrespecting women. I don't know if he does that near his daughter. Probably not, because never been an incident about him. There's never been an incidents. It never been an incident about him with a woman, so I'm not too sure. And we're not too sure about Boosie's career. I don't know. It says he's popular internationally because there's a ghetto in every city, and every ghetto in every city, state, country, whatnot. And he's right. They bumping Lil Boosie, huh? Are you people bumping Lil Boosie there? Every ghetto in around the states, every ghetto internationally. Are you bumping Lil Boosie? It's incredible. It's very incredible to see somebody tell somebody to go kill themselves. 2021. No, that shouldn't be expected. He's a gangster. He's a hood popper. They're raw and rough, and they'll tell you the truth right in your face. Like the baby, very popular artist. When that situation broke, everybody was like, "What? Damn the baby." I was just like, so many artists that he collaborated with, like, "What, the baby? You like this?" What, the baby? Everybody was posting. What, the baby? The baby, you like this? I didn't know you were like this type of person. I'm taking off my song. Woo! Oh, some artists are funny, man. I'm taking off my song. I didn't know you were this type of person. I didn't know you disrespect people, the LGBTQ community. Oh man. These pop artists, especially because he collaborated with a lot of pop artists. So pop artists like Dua Lipa, Miley Cyrus, big names in the industry, or in the music industry. Because the baby is very popular, very popular at the moment. Very popular rap artist in America. Not one of. He just got that vibe. He's one of the popular names in the rap industry, especially music industry. And everybody was shocked that he said these type of words. I was like, he's a rapper. Do you not know that? He's a rapper. People were just, it was so funny. Those responses were so funny. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, uh, that's my take on the Lil Nas and Boosie. I'll actually combine the two and Dave Chappelle. I think Lil Nas, keep shining, king. Do you keep grinding, keep winning those awards, changing the game, making it easy for black kids who are maybe old closeted gays to come out and just be themselves. Lil Boosie, you need to grow up. Lil Boosie, you really need to grow up. You really need to educate yourself. Move out this hood mentality that every black kid you see needs to be, gangster and needs to be heterosexual. No. Because the world doesn't revolve around that. We are an evolving community. We are evolving. You got black kids now watching K-pop. Korean music. You got black women black women and men listening to Korean pop. That just lets you know that people are evolving. But we're evolving as a community. We need to grow up. You're a father. You need to teach your kids right. You need to teach your kids to be good people. in the community, in the world, they in the world. Especially, you need to teach kids to be good people in an ever-changing world. There we go. An ever-changing world. You really do need to teach your kids to be good to, especially now with women, with so many non-binary, not non-binary, many members of the LGBTQ now working. Might run into it, and then next thing you know, he's saying a rhetoric that you probably taught him. And why is that? Because you don't want to grow. That's fine. You don't grow. Let your kids grow. LGBTQ members, LGBTQ members. Look, I think Dave Chappelle maybe went a bit overboard. I wouldn't even say he went over a little bit overboard. It's Dave Chappelle. He wasn't like the baby spewing out controversial, false information about the homophobic, the LGBTQ community. He's an old head. He's an old head comedian, and he's going to be real and raw. That's Dave Chappelle. That's Dave Chappelle. Anyway, moving on.